Test, 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 test. Test, test, testy, test. Test. That's what I wanted to do. Test, test, test. What up, Millie? Millie. Bo Billy. V5 for Philly. Okay, severe winter weather impacting services in areas of California. What's 95709? Nine, 5709. Jesus Christ. El Dorado County. Oh no, it's 35 degrees there on Camino, California. Oh no, outside Sacramento in the mountains, and they might have snow. What does the weather look like? It's supposed to be bad? Weather. Yeah, let's do radar. Radar. AccuWeather.com. Looks pretty clear. I'm probably looking at the wrong map. Yeah, it looks pretty clear here. We got the most of it yesterday, so. What up, King ANG? All right, so what was I working on previously? Oh, right, I made the build for 1.0.1, which I'm not going to cover. I want to be on folder support because I was working on that, and I basically rewrote an entire thing last night that is kind of core to the PlayStation Classic, so that was fun. Yeah, so like things are broken right now, like that's broken. I don't even think the game's moved to the right location. But you can, if I wanted to, I can like drag this into the folders. Maybe I can't. Yeah, stuff is still kind of broken with this, so I need to fix it. But yeah, so you can like do that. I can make a new folder called folder for folders. See, yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, that's the problem. And then I can drag other folders inside of this. This is very broken right now. This is very broken. But yeah, you can nest them like that and all that fun stuff. So I implemented the front end this weekend, and then I have been backing into doing the back end, which is fun. So I need to, what I want to do is I want to try adding a game and fix it based on what I'm seeing is the problem, because I totally forgot what I was working on last night. Yeah, see, it just duplicated folders. That's fun. So we're going to add a new game. We're going to choose a game. We're going to do Crash Bandicoot. No, because we already got those added. Let's do Croc. Do we have enough space on our E drive? That's new as well. We're going to check properties. Yeah, we got enough space for that. Let's do Croc. And it found it fine, just like the others. And then so what it's going to do is it's going to move it to this folder. And it's going to upload it. But then it should still be going. Basically, it's going to copy it, and then in order to move it to the correct location, it actually does another copy and then deletes the original file, which is not the thing to do. And we'll just wait till that uploads, or there's anything else. Unless it's not doing anything. Performance, disk is nothing. Huh. Oh, there we go. Load. Load. Yeah, and then that fails. Okay, well let's do this. Let's get rid of all of these. And we're gonna start from scratch. We're gonna get rid of the database. Yeah, we need to get rid of those. Go like that, get rid of that. So one of the new things in the desktop version is it will detect flash drives that you have inserted into your system. I need to make it a little bit more friendly because right now you have to change the config in order to switch which drive you're looking at when you first start. But if you have nothing on your drive, it will create the databases for you. And it'll create all the game folder structure for you and everything. It does not actually unpack the payload. I'm thinking about adding that at some point. But let's just try adding a game. We're going to do a small game. Crash Bandicoot 2. Found it, add game. Made a temp folder, it's copying it there. If it throws an error, we'll see what happens with it. Yeah, this process is really slow. Pretty sure it's because... see, no, that one worked fine. I bet you it was... I don't know. I don't know why that didn't work. Oh, you know why it didn't work? Because we only had a gig and 1.05 gigs left. And it attempted to copy it over instead of actually moving it. So we should write a thing to extend that. So let's do like we want to do, can we just make our own? If I do that, will that be really hacky? It might be, but configuration extensions, drive info extensions. Let's do, we'll try it. All right, so we're going to do file extensions, which sounds funny because this is not going to deal with file extensions like at all. Public static. We're going to do public static. What is this going to throw out? This is going to throw out, oh no, it's going to be void. We're going to do void move directly, and now move, I don't know what you want to call it, directly synonym, straight, face to face, direct, dead, beeline, slap, smack, direct, straight, precisely, exactly. Let's just call it move simple, or let's call it system move to match Cyanic because he's smart and I'm not. This file system IO. I will do static types cannot be used as parameters. Fun. How do we extend C# write extension for static class? Can I add an extension method to an existing static class? No. Shit. No, but you can do this. Utility, where utility class new. That's not what I want to do. It's not possible. I think they made a mistake here. I agree. What if we just did this? What if we did system.io.file? Can we not extend static classes derived from object? Yes. How do we do this? We want to do those are static. That's lame. You can't add static methods. That's in a limited sense. This works, but console doesn't because it's static. Well, that's lame. So why don't we just do this? Why don't we do Let's delete this. We don't want that anymore. We're gonna do add new item, file utility. Public. We're gonna do public static void move string source string destination. All right, and we're gonna say how do we do a move on? How do we do the sect goes? .NET Core .NET Core .NET Core .NET Core .NET Core detect operating system. Okay. If runtime information that is OS platform dot knows. Yay. Else if runtime information dot is OS platform why don't we do this? Why don't we just do no. Yeah, no, that's fine. It is OS platform dot Linux. Or, because it's going to be the same command, or runtime information dot is OS platform dot OS, which is now called macOS, which is a better name by far diggity far. And we'll say yeah. Okay, so we'll say .NET Core run system command, and I know Cyanic already ran, or already did this, but for process, it's new process, start info, equals new, where's the start info? And we'll say move. I don't like that. Ooh, that's actually kind of nice. That's an interesting extension method. So you wrote a extension method that is a string, and then you can just run that as bash. I kind of like that for implementation. That's actually pretty neat. So let's do that. String extensions. God, you know what? I'm just gonna copy this. Copy pasta's ugly, but copy pasta's fun. Bash this string extensions, blah blah blah. blah, blah, blah. Let's do no. I don't like that. Why don't I like that? That's interesting, but it only works for bash. And it's not always true that bash is going to be there. So what if we just did? No, I don't like that. Never mind. I thought that was cool, but then that's really limited because it only lets you do certain things. .NET Core using the CLI executes console.write line, required flag, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to have to use process, aren't I? Screw it. See, this is what happens is I end up writing, like, the code that actually gets put out is like 10% of the code that I actually write. File name move, arguments equals $sign. These dollar signs are fun. Source. We're going to escape our strings and we're going to say dest. Okay. Redirect standard input. Sure. Sure. Why Microsoft? Why? Okay. This is all because there's shittiness. Yeah, no, I don't care about that. I don't care about that. I don't care about that. Because we're gonna use, no, we don't want to use the full. Or do we want to use the full? We do want to use the full. Okay, let's just get rid of this stuff that we don't really understand. We're gonna get rid of that. We're gonna say process.start process.wait for exit. Return. We don't need a return. We're gonna do the same thing. All right. Ooh. Windows, move file, command line. Move. So what are the chances that? Okay. So we have this. 199 megs are used. We're going to try to fill this up a little bit. We're going to go to BleemSync. We're going to go to game. We're going to go PSC. Then we're going to go to games. How big is that? 1.19 gigs. Is that too many? That's too many gigs. Yeah, we'll swap this out of that. How does that look? 1.09. 1.05. Okay, so this should be enough to fill it up. Basically what we want to do is test to make sure that when we move the game with the command in Windows that it actually moves it instead of copying and then deleting the previous version. and that'll cut down on our upload time quite a bit. And it won't cause errors. That's just a bonus. I'll be right back. Take a look at the sky. Okay. I had to grab my phone because it was gone somewhere. And that's going to take a while to copy. So, in the meantime, we'll change this to move. And I do want to do that. Oh, well, actually, we'll do that. We'll do that up here. Source equals source dot place. That. What? Unexpected character backslash. What? What? Can I do at? No. Oh. That's fine. Yeah, that's fun. Dust. Because really what that's doing is replacing a single backslash with a double. And we're going to fix that. Do that, we're going to do that. Yeah, so there was a company that released this piece of shit today, or announced it. And you know it's on Max Console, so you know it's like completely legit, right? So somebody, True Blue, who, as far as I can tell, they took a dongle and they took a dongle that was like the old 18 mega way of like hacking, jailbreaking the PS3, and they just re-released it as their own. Now they're considered a team. They released a hack for the PS1 called the True Blue Mini, which adds hours of gaming fun to the recently launched PlayStation Classic by Sony, which doesn't ship with a great selection. So it's basically a USB hub that looks like that, a non-powered USB hub, mind you. It's worth mentioning, and a flash drive, a 64 or 32 gig flash drive, preloaded with a set amount of games depending on what you want, with a sticker over it. I've seen millions of these before. Same exact model. Oh, there it is. Hey, look. So, if we wanted to release BleemSync in the future, we could totally just You know what the thing is? They didn't even get a branded one that has like the name of the thing on it. They took a fucking sticker and put it over the top. A sticker. And they're calling it Meth Pack. And there's one like the Crackhead Pack. Yeah, there it is. Crackhead and Fight Pack. That's scary as fuck. I know that's from whatchamacallit, Pirates of the Caribbean, but that's still scary. So yeah, they put up this site that was made in 20 minutes, and you can see a full game list of fighting games that are being included, which are Gundam Battle Assault, King of Fighters, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter Alpha, X-Men, Tekken. If you look at this, and there's Jet Moto, Grand Theft Auto. I haven't even seen. Oh, yep. There's Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, which, by the way, nobody owns the license to anymore, other than Tony Hawk. But Activision holds the title for the previously released Tony Hawk games, so they can't be released outside of that. So it's basically like a dead IP, and yet they have them included here. And the reason for that is because this company is a piece of shit, and they oh wow, look at that. If you want Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 and 1 and 3 and 4, you have to buy 2 separate. So all they're doing is they're taking a shitty 64 gig flash drive, which, I don't know, let's say we buy 1,000 of them, right? That's $6 a piece. And all they're doing is they're putting an image on it. And all that image has is the payload file, which we've been using in BleemSync since December 6th or whenever our first release was, and which everybody's been using, so that's whatever. And then they're loading it full of pirated software, and they're selling it. And they're a Chinese company, and they're selling it for $20 a piece. And mind you, this is a company where I'm ordering 5,000 of them, and they're at $650, and this is obviously got a lot of overhead because it's a U.S. company. So essentially what I'm saying is don't buy these. I wouldn't imagine, or I wouldn't be surprised if they got hit by Sony by, for copyright reasons and all that stuff. Just don't support these people. They always come up in these type of scenarios, and I'm really interested to see how they actually did the database injecting, to see if they use some tool that's out there. There's a fingerprint on the databases from BleemSync, so I'll know if they use the BleemSync application to actually, like the old command line application, to actually create the databases for them. It wouldn't be surprising if that was the case, but yeah. So that's what's going on in that scene. All right, so that copied over. So if we go into E, and I open up command prompt, and I go move Crash Bandicoot to, let's just say, temp crash 3.bin. One file moved, and it didn't copy, it didn't take up any more space. So that's the command that we want, which is what we wrote here. So that should work fine. Okay, let's fix these tabs because these are really out there. 1, 2, whoa. 1, 2, 3, 4. Why is this all? Because I did this stupidly. Fine. One line. Yeah, okay, that's fixed. That was really annoying me, the highlighting, dotting stuff. Okay, and then move for Linux and OS X are the same command, so we can utilize that same thing. So what we can do is we can go into our game service, which is somewhere over here, game manager service, And instead of saying file.move, we can say file utility.move source destination. And we're going to find all references here. Get rid of this one. And we're going to say file utility.move. Okay, so that should fix that bug, hopefully. And then that's also OS independent. So like Cyanic, when he was writing stuff for to get the release of 1.0 out, he made a function inside the service called system.move, which worked fine, but it only works on Linux and OS 10. But it won't work on Windows, so we have to have that supported. That's why we wrote the file utility.move. Yeah. So let's do a test where we upload crash 3 to E. And the error that we were getting before is it would just say oops and not do anything. So we have enough space to upload crash 3. And this shouldn't fail anymore. So we're going to do add game. I know I need to rebuild the interface. I'm working on it. Greetings from MaxConsole.com. Hello. I just did a big rant on that post if you didn't see. Oh, okay, so that just scraped. Okay, now I need to add. It's going to copy it. Real-time save, is that your username? The only reason I'm Googling it is because, yeah, hey, look at that. Oh, hey, you write a bunch of stuff. Cool. Yeah, you should remove that thing about the or get your team to remove that thing about that flash drive, because that's really shady and that's really shitty to do. It's not fair to consumers because you know it's going to break. And the thing is, like, I really don't want people coming into our Discord and being like, "Hey, this isn't working," blah blah blah. Not the Stargate NX, the shit. What is that called? I was just looking at it. The blue thing. The True Blue Mini. That thing. What is a Stargate MX? Oh, yeah, this looks really shitty too. Is it, oh, so it's just a where to buy? Jesus. Like I have used, like I use products that you can pirate things with and stuff like that, but it's one thing to make a product, because like I made oh look, that uploaded properly. Cool. Oh no, it threw an error, but for a different reason, so that's cool. It's one thing to make a product that lets you add more games to the system. That's why, like, BleemSync is 100% legit. And when I made Super Storage, which is on back order right now, don't delay, buy today. When I made the Super Storage, it lets you add more games, but it's not throwing the games on there. I am under the stark opinion that if you are going to make something, don't bundle other people's shit into it. Just because that's not cool. That's not cool, man. And I would love, like, in the future, like, one of the features I would like to add to BleemSync is the ability to plug in a CD drive, or rather have on your computer have a CD drive and be able to, like, legitimately dump your PlayStation games onto your computer and then sync that to your flash drive. I think that would be a really cool feature, and I think we can do it. And we could add stuff like Wii support, possibly. I don't know if that's been cracked, but it like could work on some old drives and stuff like that. But like, I'm all for like being able to back up your own stuff. Like, you bought, like, under my copyright is, my opinion, doesn't really matter for it. Process.start file unit to the system cannot find the file specified. Okay. Yeah, so the Classic to Magic is a good example. I think the Classic to Magic works. I have a feeling that they stole code off of another project, which is legitimate to do, but there wasn't any... The Classic to Magic was something that seemed thrown together and not by somebody who was knowledgeable in creating a cart dumper. There's like tons of these out there that let you dump carts using Teensies and Arduinos and stuff like that. There's a really cool one out there. Cartridge dumper open source. I spelled cartridge wrong. GitHub. Universal Mega Dumper, is this what it is? Nope. There's one that lets you do GBA, NES, SNES, N64, Genesis. It's really cool. But there's so many of these projects out there that I think that Classic to Magic ripped off of the code. That's completely unbased. But that is my interpretation. Like I said, could be completely wrong. I could just be an asshole, which is very possible. But again, I just don't like to see other people's work get ripped off of without at least just acknowledging that you did it. Because if it's released under GPL, like, it's totally legal to do. You can do that. You can take somebody else's code and release a product, but you'd also have to, when asked, provide the code and credit the use of it. So that's why I'm really hoping that the true many people have actually used BleemSync, because then I can say, hey, use your stuff to make your product. Let's see your code. And then it just creates more issues for them. Yeah, thanks for jumping in the chat. It's appreciated, actually. I used to be on Max Console, like, oh god, that was probably back in the original DS hacking days when we had like the Pass Me and Flash Me and everything. And I had Flash Me, and I had to boot off of my compact flash card out of my Game Boy or GBA MP. That's the last time I was on the Max Console, and that was 2006, 2005, 2006. How long ago was that? 2005, 2006. I was 13, maybe 12. Yeah, so it was probably like 2006. But the whole DS hacking days and PSP, early PSP hacking days where you could just run unsigned code on your system. That was fun. And then I updated and had to do the Pandora's battery. Oh, is that failing because it's not making the folder? That's probably why. I had to do Pandora's battery, and I cut into it, and I cut into the battery cell and started it on fire. Yeah, see, that's why that's failing. That's fine. We can make that directory. That'd actually be really cool. I cut into the battery and made the battery last about a minute. But in that minute, I could keep it charged and then run the hack. And then I had I couldn't find a battery, and I was like 13, 14, so I didn't have the money to buy a new one because they were like $60 at that point for the extended ones. So I ran without a battery in my PSP for about a year. And basically only used it to play Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 on PS1. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to take our destination path equals file info dot path new file info destination dot get a string representing the directory's full path, and we'll do directory create directory destination path. Perfect. And we'll delete this game. And just to throw that out there, I wasn't calling Max Console shitty for posting that. I was calling the company shitty, but it is pretty crappy. There's different levels. There's poopy, then crappy, then shitty. It's pretty crappy to like sponsor that, or not sponsor that. You know what I mean? We're on the same page. We got it. We don't have to talk about it anymore. All right, let's talk about development. So we're gonna update Crash Bandicoot Warped. We're gonna open it, and we're gonna hit add game, and this shouldn't throw an error anymore. At least hopefully it won't, because what it wasn't doing is it wasn't creating the directory after we uploaded it. It wasn't creating the directory that it wanted to go in. So I added a little extension, or a little 2-line piece of code, and do that. Yeah, I'll have to remember to add Max Console on device. I want to do a product. I'm working on a new product right now that is related to classics, and I'm trying to aim to the point where I can replace my current job as a programmer in a private company and move to something that I can own and release products and support and everything like that full time. So I'll probably hit up Max Console at some point, just because. Just lost all my PSX2 PSP files, accidentally dropping a brand new 10 terabyte hard drive on the floor while it was spinning. That is why you have a second 10 terabyte hard drive, or even like me, and you have 7, 8 terabyte hard drives in RAID. Prevent that kind of thing. Okay, so the 4 folder is made, which is good because previously we were looking at making the 3 folder, which means it incremented by 1 and everything like that. Jose, sorry, I didn't know if that was mean or not. Yeah, programming's fun. Learn to do it. Everyone should learn how to do it. Everyone should learn how to do basic things with anything, such as figure out how to how programming works, to how soldering works and how to diagnose basic electrical issues, to sewing, to learning how to patch drywall, cleaning out your sink. It's all the same shit. All the same shit. Yeah, and I didn't even think I was going to like programming, to be honest. It was something that I decided to do because I didn't want to do system administration anymore. I didn't want to. I was working at schools and I didn't want to do that anymore. Not that schools are terrible, but they're not great either. So I decided to become a web developer, and now I have become a backend developer. Switched from using JavaScript, CSS, PHP into using .NET, some JavaScript, and very minimal CSS now. And I couldn't be happier, to be honest. What I'd recommend is if you want to get into programming, you start with something easy. PHP is really easy to get into. If you can get a host that runs PHP, it's really easy to get into. It's a great language to learn on. It's not a great language to keep maintaining. JavaScript is a good one these days too, as well. Back-end stuff, at least. The front end is still a pain in the ass. Yeah, I know John Romero. I don't know him, but I know of him. He's my idol. I have a book. If you guys haven't checked it out, there's a book called The Masters of Doom. And it's all about id in their early days and how they developed Doom and Quake and explaining how everything like that worked, and Wolfenstein and everything like that. It's a very interesting book. It's only like a couple hundred pages. I don't read, and I blew through it like instantly, and I want to read it again because it was actually really good. Kind of going into how like ray tracing works, which is super interesting. Like beyond my capabilities, and that's not even saying anything because ray tracing is a stupidly simple concept. What does this even expand into? Non-public members. Oh, this platform. Oh, that's fun. Okay. Source. Destination. I wonder if this doesn't have to be a skip for Windows. You know what we're going to do? We're going to write a command using our watch. We're going to say $, move. We're say, we're going to copy this out actually. We're going to go like this. We're going to go like this. We're going to say $move. And we're going to go like this. I'm going to go like that. And that's going to output this command. And we're going to visualize this as text. And we are going to say this. How do I change themes? There's guides out there. Look on YouTube. Any of those should be able to tell you. Yeah, Wiselink, I'll probably definitely get in touch. It won't be for another couple months yet, if I get time. Time is a fickle thing. Ah, now see. That actually moved into the correct location. If I change this to Q. GBA temp. I try not to touch that. Like I don't. I don't really browse either anymore. The thing is like Reddit and Discord have just replaced like forums for me. Except for like Cody, because Cody is special, but otherwise, there was a guy on GBA temp that was causing us issues, and I did some stalking with him on GBA temp, and just the old forum format feels weird. Okay, so that moved into the correct location. So why is it saying file not found? Process file not found. Process file not found. C#. Da-na-na, da-na-na, da-na. Oh. Yeah, God damn, this is a pain in the ass. Direct info. No, I don't want to move. I don't want to use this. I don't want to use this because it doesn't work properly. Yeah, the power mod is Honeylab figured that out. He did a really good job with that. I just wrote up the guide and translated it into English. Not that it was like, it's not that big of a deal. But it is interesting to learn those little idiosyncrasies with the. That's the only thing is I think they probably limited that on purpose to avoid what we're doing with it. That'd be my guess anyway. IO directory exists, system IO path combine exists, get files, scenes just looking through. That's not what I want to do. No, that's. Oh man, don't tell me about SSIS, you stupid people. You don't have to peel off the feed. It's not like the NES Classic. Let's try cmd.exe. Let's try cmove. Yeah, I mean now that they're now that you can get them for like $35, even $50 is very reasonable for these machines. Um, I literally just bought mine to play Tony Hawk on it, and now I've accepted this like giant project. But I enjoy doing programming projects. So it's fun to bring these things on once in a while. Okay, so they actually deleted it out of the folder, which is good. We'll see if it actually moves it. I don't think it will. Running stuff in process is always a kind of a shoot in the dark, trying to get it to fucking work properly. Yeah, it's funny because I have 3 SNES classics, 1 NES classic, now 3 PlayStation classics, and I don't play any of them. I hack them. I write software for them, and then when I actually want to play a game, I'll just play it on my emulation machine, which is downstairs, which can run everything at 4K. But the only system I can't emulate, and it really makes me mad, is the original Xbox. It's such a good system. But it's funny, so we had a kind of on the same topic of emulation and getting things to run. We had a, this is going to throw an error. Oh hey, it's actually moving files along. Look at that. Hey! 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 Look at that. Sorry, I just said hey really loud 3 times. Okay, fun. So that's the trick for that. Cool. Alright. So we had a LAN party on Saturday at work, in which people bring in their machines and we play old PC games like the first Warcraft, Doom, Quake, Age of Empires 2, Unreal Tournament. But we've been having a real problem where we usually only get to play like Unreal Tournament, Quake, Age of Empires. Did I say that? No, I said Unreal Tournament. Age of Empires, and that's about it because DOSBox doesn't really work well with network games with IPIX. So we're actually looking at building. Where am I going? Get cracking. I'm not seeing it. We're actually trying to build Pentium 4 machines where we can actually run DOS native. Well, Windows 98 native and then DOS native, but so we can actually get like IPIX working and networking and just have a stack of like 10 of them in the back room that we can just hold on to, and then when we get it one prepared, we can just image it. Created file utility added new method for using OS. Okay. So yeah, I mean, the big thing that I've learned about programming in the past 5 years that I've been doing it professionally is organize your code, write your code consistently, space things consistently, separate things consistently. If you're going to make a move function, do it inside of a file utility. Don't do it inside of your game service, because this is already a few hundred lines. Yeah, I have a I just built a new penny import machine from scratch, which is right there in the camera. That looks like a new case, but it's actually my room. This is my office, and it's super messy. It's actually a Pentium 4 2.8 gigahertz with like 4 gigs of RAM and a GeForce 4 Ti 4800, and it runs beautifully. But the best part is that it's in a new case with like tempered glass, and it has a full custom water cooling loop, and it even has the graphics card cooled by water cooling. It's pretty cool. I like it. I should bring it into work tomorrow and mess around with it during lunch or whatever. Okay, so we were able to successfully upload a game. So let's add a couple more. I know that sounds funny, but I like completely rewrote the service last night, so it is surprising that it is working properly. So we're going to add a new game, we're going to do choose files, and we are going to choose, let's do all of Crash Bandicoot, and then put them inside of a folder. So we're going to select Crash Bandicoot. And we're going to upload. There's part of this process that takes a little bit longer once it actually like uploads. I'm not sure why that is, because it is uploading to the temporary directory properly. So I don't know what's taking it so long to copy over there, but whatever. If we have a progress bar, and the next feature I'm adding after I get folder support working is bulk uploading of games, so you can just start dragging things in. It'll still prompt you with a menu saying like, "Is this the game that you have?" And then it will add it. And then maybe I'll just have like a checkbox like yes to all, and then it'll like automatically pull in all the info for you, so you don't have to worry about it. I have yet to determine that, but yeah, this is all the features for 1.1. We are adding a lot of stuff. Currently, I have implemented for the most part a desktop UI where you have a little drop down here and you can choose which drive you're syncing to. That needs a few bug fixes. Like if you unplug the drive, it yells at you and it breaks and it crashes, but that's pretty easy to fix. That's part of this USB drive detection, and I started working on folder support here. I will be starting on the multiple game uploading. The other guys are working on the payload. They're working on OTG, so we can get around the power issues by using an OTG cable. And then I'm also working on the side on BleemSync Central, which is it's the database for all of the games. So when you drag in a game, it scans the serial out of the disk, goes out to a web service with that serial number and only that serial number, asks what game is this, and pulls it back, and that's what gives you the cover and all the information and everything. That's very static right now. It's just hosted as like a MySQL database with a front end. Oh, did that fail? I can't even tell because that thing didn't pop up. Anyway, BleemSync Central, which hosts all the data information, will go out and it was scraped from a website and put into a MySQL database with all the covers. we will be opening that up at some point to user modification, so people can go in, and if some info is incorrect, there's a wrong serial number on a game, or the title is different, or something of the sort, or a new cover needs to be updated, or a better cover, or something like that. Somebody can upload it, and then it gets added to a moderation queue, and then a moderator can go and approve. Hey, look at that, it was added. Okay, so that worked fine, it was just something else failed. Oh, get local cover. Okay, that's fine. And there's moderators, so we ensure that there is some sort of quality to the covers and the information, so people can't just go edit it and put in racist info or something like that, because people will do that from time to time because they're assholes. Yeah, so I don't know why this, I'll have to debug this process a little bit more and figure out why this is taking a little longer than I thought it would. But the actual file moving process is fine. I think what it's doing is it's possibly uploading it to a temporary directory on my local computer, and then it copies it to the flash drive under the temp directory. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's what it does. So let's see. We'll see what happens when this is done. And then after this is added, I'm going to add a folder. I'm going to try to throw these inside of a Crash Bandicoot folder. I'm going to make it try to fail, and then fix it as I go along. So my wonderful caliper. Digital caliper. Because I don't have any time to read dials. I want it right there. Alright, so game uploaded under folder 8. Has the thing there. It's got the Q file. Perfect. One bin. Can't ask for anything more. Okay, so we're going to add a folder. We're going to call this the Crash Bandicoot Collection. And we are going to drag a game in. Entity framework. Database operation expected to affect one row, but actually affected 0 rows. Data may have been modified or deleted since the entities were loaded. So, the reason for that is I don't know. Let's look at the database. Oh, this is stopped. So let's go into Oh, what does the stack look like on this? If the stack is what I think it is, it's calling generate folders. So it properly added to the database. As we can see, if we go into bleemsync.db, we can go and view data. We can look at the nodes. We can see that there is the Crash Bandicoot collection in there, which has no parent ID. Crash Bandicoot has a parent ID of 9, which is this. This is the type of 2, which is folder. It is a position of 0, which means it's at the top. We can go into the files, and we can see that there are no entries for an ID of 9 because there are no files for folders, technically. Not executable files that anything will care about. So that database looks fine. Let's look at the UI menu database. If we browse data, we go to game. If we look, there is a Crash Bandicoot collection. That's actually a problem that there's no disks there, but we'll take a look at that later. So we have the Crash Bandicoot collection. Game ID is 9. That's proper. Release year is 0. That's okay. I don't know how we're going to handle that necessarily. Maybe we can just make that blank. Instead of 0, we'll probably convert that to a string instead of an int. Position is fine. Players is fine. That looks wunderbar. As we can see, this is just a weird thing about that. So, those databases look fine. What doesn't look fine is this here. So the reason that this is failing is because we are, to make folders work properly, we end up making the folder a directory inside of games. Then we create a folder.db. And basically what will happen is when you add a folder, you update a folder or anything like that, a bunch of database files are going to be created. These aren't going to be full database files. They're not going to contain all the games. They're not going to contain all the disks. It's only going to be the files inside of that folder. So if we look at the interface, expand this, there will be a database inside of, or there will be a database inside of 9 that will have just Crash Bandicoot inside of it. And that's fine. We'll add some entries for like go back, like up. We'll add other folders and that type of thing. But basically the database files get loaded and they're just subset databases. And then what we do is we overmount that database to our proper location. For anybody that's done any modding with the system, you know what that means. Well, that's a good point. I don't see something labeled methpack getting past customs. That's a fair point. Sorry, I'm just reading messages. Okay. So, why is this folder? What doesn't exist here? So, exist is set to true. Game is Crash Bandicoot, which is pulled out of the database properly, as we can see. It has an ID of 7. It has players, position, publisher, all that fun stuff. So if exists true, games.update. Oh, okay, because the game actually does exist inside of the context. Ah, we're using the wrong context. That's why this is failing. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so let's manually edit these databases to get this back to a state that would make sense. So we had our 4 games uploaded, like this. We're going to go into the UI menu, and we're going to look at game. We're going to delete this row of Crash Bandicoot collection. Let's say we didn't even make this folder. Oh, because this is a view. You can't edit a view. That would make sense. Okay, it's fine. Disks are broken. We'll fix that. Write changes. Perfect. Close. BleedSync.db. We want to go into browse data. We want to go into game manager nodes. Just want to make sure that files are there. So this aren't getting added. I gotta look at that. Delete that record. Okay. We'll change this to null. Write changes. Oh, apply, then write changes. Okay. Fun. Game meta, game system, these aren't used yet, but they do exist. Okay, cool. So we are going to open up BleedSync again. We're going to see that there are 4 games in the file directory, and there are no folders. We're going to create a folder. We're going to take a game. We are going to drag it inside the folder. It's going to properly set itself and not break. Now, why is that there? That shouldn't be there. Why is that there? There's 4, right? Why is there 5? Ah, foreign key constraints. Okay, yeah. Okay, now we'll try starting this again, and we have to, yeah, we close that down. Okay, perfect. So we're going to start this. We are going to upload a game, or no, we're going to make a folder. We're going to call this the Crash Bandicoot Collection. It's going to throw it to the top. We're going to take Crash Bandicoot, we're going to drag it in this folder, and hopefully it won't throw an exception. Ah! That's okay. Okay. No, I'm not going to do that. Game no files. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to change this so this only occurs if and only if, that file exists. So we're going to do if game node, or if any files exist, count is greater than 0. I'm not going to explain why that's needed. It's basically looking for a cover file that's not there. Okay, so that generated 10, which is our folder DB. Fine, delete that. We're going to go to GleamSync. We're going to go to GleamSync.db. We're going to get rid of that folder again because I want to start fresh. I want to feel fresh. I want to feel clean. I'm going to delete record. Oh, right. Yeah, that won't work. So go like this, go like this, and go like this, and this, and this, and change this to null, set as applied, delete, no, not new, delete, 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 write changes, close, UI menu, browse, disk, menu entries, okay. I don't really do live streams often, so I can't really tell you when I'll do the next one. I should probably schedule a day where like I just start working on shit. I will talk to. I'll see what my schedule looks like, and I'll see. I will try to announce it earlier in the Discord, if that helps. Because I would like to bump up viewership a little bit. I don't know if that many people are interested in all this, but I got 70 viewers right now, so I'm not completely alone. I might actually be one of them. Let's see. Ooh, you know what? I'll do another stream on Wednesday. Because on Wednesday, I bought this really awesome I'll stream on Wednesday, but it's going to be a hardware thing. Because I bought a 120 gigabyte eMMC chip, which is the type of storage chip that's used in the PlayStation Classic. So I'm going to try to actually like desolder the old one and put the new one in and see if I can duplicate it in between there somehow, because I do have a duplication flash drive thingy. I'm in my underwear right now, by the way. I'll put on pants next time. But yeah, I have a little flash drive dongle, and I'll try to duplicate it and replace the chip on it, and see if I can make myself 128 gig PlayStation Classic, because that'd be pretty cool. And that, like, I really bought that to just see if I could do it, because it was only like $50. And also because it would be a nice test to because one of the things that we're going to start working on with 1.2, I think, is going to be managing games on your internal storage. and being able to throw more games on there. And if I could have a larger drive than everybody else and just kind of like test that and make sure it works properly, that'd be awesome. I don't know what you mean by BIOS dump file issue. Yeah, and we're working on internal storage. There's a lot of things that need to happen first. There's more people asking about folder support and OTG and stuff like that, because the internal storage will only get you so far. So I know some people really, really want it. I really, really want it too. But it's just a matter of practicality, and the fact of the matter is, unless you possibly, I haven't figured it out yet, but unless you pull off the chip and put a new one on, that's the only way I know to actually upgrade the internal storage versus doing one of the hackety hack mods by desoldering the internal USB port and soldering in and all that shit. Crash Bandicoot collection. Alright, boom. Drag this in. Hey. No errors. Alright, let's look at the database that was created out of that then. And I'll get back to what I was just talking about, but I want to see this and see if this works. Browse data, disk doesn't work. Game works! Oh, look at that. That's really cool. Alright. So, what we're going to do is we're going to add another folder. We're going to call this some other folder. And I'm going to put Crash Bash inside of it. Inside of it. There we go. And you can see that's there. That's there. And we're going to see that there's a new folder called 14. And it's got a database file. And it's got a game of Crash Bash. Look at that. And then if we drag another file inside of this folder, we open it up, and we go to game, you'll see there's 2 folders, and they actually keep the same position too. So that's cool. So if we take Crash Bash and move it above, will it be reflected here? Yes, it will. Look at that. Oh, God, that makes me really happy. All right, so we're going to take this inside here. We're going to see Crash Bandicoot 3 first, then Crash Bandicoot. I'm going to drag this down. It's actually going to be Crash 1 first, then Crash 3. Browse data, game, Crash Bandicoot, then 3. Perfect. Okay. And it got the position correct, which is cool. We're going to try something totally out there. We're going to try taking this some other folder and dragging it inside of this other folder and see if it crashes. It might. Might. Hey, node provided was not a game. Okay, that's a valid error. Because we're not actually moving. So what are we calling move game? We are calling move game, add move game, update game, add game. We're not adding games though. Chat's blowing up a little bit. Replacing the game selection carousel. There's some people working on that from the AutoBleem team, it looks like. I personally have no interest in that right now. You can boot BleemSync straight into RetroArch. And we have started working on getting that new, what is that new front end that's based on the Switch theme. There has been some work on that. I think it's a little buggy right now, but it's it's almost there, I think. Da, 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 da. More plugin support, shaders too. More cores are coming. Swing Flip's working on porting some cores over and making them a little bit more optimized. Shaders won't happen because the system isn't powerful enough for that. Yeah. Okay, so why is add game being called? Add game is being called because we were dragging in I'm calling game controller. Game controller is calling add game when. Generate folders is calling add game, I believe. Go to definition. Go to implementation is what I want to do. Yeah, okay, so generate folders is calling add game. So really what we want to do is here, no, not that. Here we want to do if, oh no, not here, inside of if node dot type equals game node type dot game. Game selection screen is different categories. Folders. We have the potential of generating genres. Once we get folder support added, it will be fairly straightforward in order to create other things. But yeah, adding stuff on top of the main UI is kind of a pain in the ass. I would love to add somebody on the team that would want to replace the carousel with something that looks exactly the same but just has the functionality that we need. Because I rather like the UI. Don't burn me for that. Okay, so it just failed on the. So let's go inside the Crash Bandicoot collection, which is ID number 13. So we're going to go into 13's database, which is here, and we're going to look at games and see specifically menu entries. But okay, so the folder is in here. Okay, that's fine. So that was just an error with something where we were trying to move files when we couldn't, and it was throwing the correct exception, and it was breaking in the correct way. So I'm glad that's written properly. Okay, so that's fine. Let's add another folder called final folder. I don't know why. And let's just try moving this out of here into there. Okay. And final folder is going to be ID number 15. We're going to open up folder.db. And we're going to look at game, and it's going to have some other folder inside of it. And that's correct, because there's no other games inside of here. There's no other ways to navigate other than going to this folder. And we're going to go into some other folder, which is going to be ID number 14. We're going to open this up, and this should have Crash Bash inside of it. Game, Crash Bash, and Crash Bandicoot 2. Okay, so that's populating correctly. So this. So this shouldn't error anymore. That's really fucking cool. I'm really proud of that. Okay. Nice. That makes me very happy. Oh, there we go. I don't know, I had a brain fart there for a second. Ooh, that's not correct. That is not correct. Just out of curiosity. I move a game into here, and a game into here, and another game into here. I'm going to have more. If I have more than 4, I know exactly what's wrong. It's not deleting games out of the other folders. That's what it is. Okay. I could just check to see for each folder ID and folder IDs, options builder, create directory, yeah, okay, that makes sense. So I basically need to delete all. Okay, so we're going to do this. We're going to do directory dot we're going to do file dot if file exists, we are going to say var folder database file path equals that. We're going to say path.combine. And we can use literals, which are fun. Folder database file path like that. We can tighten this up a little bit. And like that. If file exists, folder database file path. You can say file.delete. Cool. Will AutoBleem menu ever support launching titles instead of having to go into RetroArch? I have no idea. I can't comment on the AutoBleem's thing at all. We are I haven't even seen any development on it, so I can't even look at it from a third-party perspective. I agree. I don't like going to the RetroArch UI personally. But that's me. And that was my big gripe with releasing BleemSync 1.0 was I really don't like having things all like branded as BleemSync as much as I created the application and everything, and obviously a lot of people have helped and everything like that, but I wanted, like, my vision was to be as transparent as possible. So like having a desktop app is fine. Even I would even say having credits on the inside of the UI is okay. But as far as like the boot up menu and stuff like that, like I don't prefer that type of thing. Okay, so we're gonna start moving some things around. We're gonna go put this in there. Oh, okay, so that's fine. So we need to delete the file before it actually gets created like that. Let's try that. And one of the things I would like to do with BleemSync, one of the things I've said that we're probably going to do is support the NES and SNES Classic, as well as the C64 Classic, and everything like that. Folder.db.
Folder IDs. For each folder and folder IDs, database path, folder context equals database,
Options, configuration. But that's not being used, is it? What is my context currently? My context is database, non-public members, context. No, stop. Database. Database creator. Non-public. Connection. UIMenu.db. Oh, because I have this folder opened. Duh. Okay. I can't delete the file if I have it open in another program. That's not related to BleemSync at all. Alright, so we're going to drag this in here, we're going to drag that in there, like that. Okay, so we should have 1122, or 112. So, if we go into games, this should be our Crash Bandicoot collection folder, I believe. Game. Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped. That's correct. It's position 1. We're going to go into 14, which should be our some other folder. This should have one file of Crash Bandicoot in it. That is correct. And then we're going to go into 15 folder, which should be game. And that works correctly. Okay, that's cool. Okay, so now it's generating the databases properly. It's not having any weird shit involved with it. But it's not generating the disk files. So in order to, or it's not adding the disk to the database. And the reason for that is, let's add a breakpoint there. And we're going to call that an update game. We're going to see if disk is populated. If disk isn't populated, then it's an issue with, you guessed it, no, you probably didn't, lazy loading. Disk is null. Okay, so context, okay. So it's not creating them in the first place when we add a game. Oh, and it doesn't have files, so it's not tying the files. Huh. That's strange. Game manager node. BleemSync context. Database context. DB options, base, migrate, config. Let's go to startup. Let's take a look at our startup. Are we setting our database context? No. Okay, so let's try this. Let's try doing I don't even remember how to do it. Let's say please, no, not BleemSync. That's not going to have an answer. We're going to look up entity framework for lazy loading, because we probably don't have lazy loading enabled, which means that disks are not going to add. Which we want to do by doing not includes, but we want to do it on like this. Inside of on configuring, you want to set this stuff up. So I'm going to do options builder, use SQLite, proper. That's correct. You want to do use lazy loading proxies, which don't exist because we need to include a package through NuGet. Oh, and actually what we should do is down like this. Oh, kind of standard that they're setting. Whoops. Use lazy loading proxies, not lazy loading proxies. Yeah, because Entity Framework at core is. Ooh, wait, this isn't Entity Framework core. I know what it is. Okay. Do we have this package loaded, or do we need to install it? Probably need to install. Options builder. Okay, so we need. Yeah, it's probably in my what project are we in? We're in BleemSync data. So in BleemSync data, we need to go to right click, manage NuGet packages. And once I verify that folders are working, I am probably going to stop for tonight. At least I am going to stop streaming. Because I need to eat. Ugh. What version am I on for any framework? 2.1.1. Okay, so we want to use the same thing. We want to use 2.1.1. Maybe. Accept. But yeah, I got some nice fixture pizza from Milwaukee, Wisconsin in my fridge right now, which is great. If you're ever in Milwaukee, try it out. We have good pizza, we have good beer, we have good pretzels, we have good meats, we have good potholes. What was I just doing? Lazy loading. Lazy loading. Okay, let's just break it. Let's see if Node has files now. Look at that. That was a pretty easy fix. So I don't know if this is not going to fix the UI menu.db and everything like that, but it should fix itself when we yeah, this is not going to have disks in it. I bet you any money. Yep. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to delete everything in here. Delete. 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 I should try deleting this, and that's going to break. Yeah. Figured as much. So you can't delete folders that have files in them. That's another issue that I'll have to work out, which is pretty easy to solve. Delete. Delete. Okay, so now if we check our flash drive, we should have no games on it. Boop, empty. Temp, empty. Database. Browse data. Files, empty. Nodes, empty. UI menu. Browse data. Game, empty. Disk, empty. Wonderful. Wunderbar. That was the most Wisconsin Wunderbar ever. Alright, we're going to do add new game. We're going to go do. Let's do cool borders this time because it's cool border. And we'll check chat as it's going along. No, let's chat, not that chat because you guys are quiet. Fighting force is great. Fighting force 2 sucks. There was a Fighting Force. There's a definitive edition of Fighting Force. It was the Windows version, believe it or not, because all the other versions were. You had the N64 version, which was okay. You had the PlayStation version, which was good, but had all of the PlayStation issues, and then the rest of them were ports to the PSP and PS3 and Vita and everything like that. But yeah, Fighting Force 1 was pretty good. Because you could like pick up stuff. It was like I don't know why it didn't get more popular, because it was like the first good 3D brawler in my opinion. And you could pick up guns, and it was hard. It was super duper hard. But you could it was really cool because you could break open ATMs and like grab like the cash box and throw it at people. That needs to be fixed. And let's do cool borders for that. And we'll do add game. And we'll keep talking about games. I think my brother beat Fighting Force once, but they are like, the game gets hard. So this is the first boss where you like, it's a truck driver for the Z Corporation, and he's just built. Was that dynamite? I didn't know you could have that. I should replay that again. That game was good. And it's uploading. Oh yeah, and you can just lay you out. It's just awesome. Yeah, it was developed by Core and published by Eidos, which is Core did Tomb Raider, right? Yeah. Oh, it defunct in 2010. That's sad. They only had 5 employees by 2010. Oh. It's so sad. All these good video game companies being butchered. Just absolutely butchered. Okay, I'll play another game. Oh, I should be checking the database as I go along to see if it's being written to. That'd be a good idea. That'd be pretty neat. And then we'll add a folder, and then we'll make sure that the disks are being added, and then we'll go and we'll add a folder from, or we'll add a folder and then we'll drop the game in. We'll see if those disks are added to that context as well. That would be pretty neat. And then what I'll be able to do is, once I get this folder support done and basically fleshed out, I'll be able to hand this off to the payload guys, and they'll be able to build something around it and get something working, which should be pretty quick. So then I got to do some UI stuff. I got to tighten up the desktop UI a little bit. Then I can start working on the queuing of uploads, so you can just start dragging in games and it'll upload in the background for you. And then we'll be getting pretty close to a 1.1 release. I think we're releasing 1.01 tomorrow. I probably shouldn't have said that, but that might be when it happens. I haven't. No, we're doing some testing still, so. But it's been tested for a long time, so it's getting really, really close. And we want to get it out because we want to get 1.1 out, which should hopefully not be as big of a wait from between 1.0 and 1.01. 1.0.1 rather. Okay. So we got 3 games in here. Let's open up the UI menu database. Let's see if there's any disks in here. There aren't any disks, and that's a problem.
So what we need to do is we need to go into the game manager service, which is in here. We need to go to add disks. Oh, because we're never actually calling add disks, I bet. Private void add disk game node. Go to implementation, find all references. We're not using add disks at all, so we kind of need that in order to do things properly. Okay, so okay, update game, add game. We're gonna say move game node. We're gonna say add disks node right after the move game. Like that. So now when we upload a game, it should also create the thing. If you are running 1.0 right now, you should probably upgrade to 1.1, right? 1.01 when we do it. If you don't want to dick around with the OTG, or not the OTG, the RN disconnection, which makes you plug your PSC into your computer in order to sync games to it, I completely understand. Then you might want to wait till 1.1 if you don't want to deal with that. Otherwise, do what you want. I don't care. Jimmy Crack Corn and I didn't care either. So, okay. So add, upload. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold on there, Sparky. Yup. That's my face. A big, beautiful, wonderful face. Okay, so let's look at UI menu.db. We're gonna look at browse data, and that is still blank. Okay, so that's lame. Did we not stop and start this? That's probably what happened. Cool. We're gonna set some breakpoints here, here, and here. Do we not also call update game node context? Oh, we also don't call context save changes, which would help. Fudge packers. All right, let's see. We also want to change context, so let's actually context. So we're going to make a private void add disks. No. No. No, no, no. Yeah, no. Yeah. Game manager node. Game node. Add disks. Game manager node. Game node. We do this because we need this. Like this menu database context, and there's a reasoning behind that. Oh, duh, I'm stupid. All right, and then context. Let me do this. Let me just say context. Rather, context dot save changes. All right, so now what that's going to do is it's going to run through and properly update the correct database when it adds the disks. It's going to save the changes when it does that. All right, so that should work now, or it should give us another step to go past. All right, how much space are we? Oh, I can check here. We have 992.8 megabytes left, so we can add another couple games. That's going to have a better integration, so you can look at so like when you drag in a game, it'll give you like the file size, and it won't let you upload it because you're out of space. And I'd like to, on that same line, I'd like to show like how much space is left, because that would be cool. And the really cool thing about this is if we develop this method for the PlayStation Classic, we'll be able to easily replicate it for the NES and SNES Classic, as well as the C64 Classic, because both of those you can use a flash drive. And then once we develop the internal method, it'll make things like working with NES and SNES Classic a lot easier. I think that's my girlfriend coming home. Cool. Probably just in time, because if this works properly, I won't have to worry about it. Yeah, have a good one, Wise. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, auto bloom is fine. It's just the scope is very limited in what they're doing. They're doing just PlayStation games, and they're having a database that you can't edit yourself unless you go through and use the game.ini and do all that shit. That's really annoying in my opinion. I like to have UIs for my things. I like to be able to organize things into folders. I like to I like to customize my system through an application. And as you can see, there's a PlayStation Classic menu here. That doesn't mean that all we're doing is a PlayStation Classic. And it doesn't mean that all we're doing is the is PlayStation games as well. That's a thing later on the line, but alright, so add disk node. So node has files in it of 3. There's a bin, there's a queue, and there's a ping. We're going to do add nodes. And we're going to see launchable file extensions is Q, hem3u, bin, ISO, PBP, image, MDF, TOC, and CBIN, or CBN, or whatever you want to call it. That's fine. We're going to find launchable game files. It should only give us back the Q. Results view only gives us one file, and it is the Q file, so that's correct. We only have one disk. Launchable game files, perfect. And if we go here, actually what we want to do is check out context disks, which will result in we can check disk num. Disk num is 2, so context was added, and then we can do context save changes, hit save, creates the thing properly. Let's go into the UI menu.database, and we see we have a disk now. The game ID is 21, which should match Cool Borders 2. Oh, because it scanned in as it actually did
do the right thing. It just scanned in as cool borders. That's a bug with the scraper right now. Well aware of that. So position is 0. That's fine. So now let's try dragging this into a folder. I'm going to close this database first. Okay. Ooh, that's not going to work. Shit. Because we're not passing in the context properly. We are using the UI menu context, so it's not going to update into the folders, I don't believe. It may or may not, depending on what happens. So we're looking at a new folder, which is going to be the only folder with probably going to be 2019 folder.database. We're going to look at this. We don't want that. We want to go into browse data. Disk doesn't have anything, but game has cool borders. Okay, so that's exactly what I thought it would be. So if we go into here and we go game node, move game, that's fun. We were looking at add disks, and we were going to say context. Because we're passing context around, and that's not really the best way to do things. It's kind of the only way to do things. So, if we want access to both contexts, it's a little write heavy, but as long as it's stable now, that's all I really care about. Okay, so we're gonna move this out like this. We're gonna move it back. Ooh. Let's close that. Let's throw that in there. Okay, that should have saved it. And now we have a disk in there with the correct base name. Yep. Game ID of 21. And so if we go into 21, there should be a coolborders.chd.q. That's correct. Disk number of 1, disk ID of uno. Perfect. Okay. So I am going to stop streaming. I've been streaming for a couple hours now, I believe. Ooh, just over 2 hours. So yeah, thanks for watching. Basically what we were able to do is our front end was all built out for folders. I rewrote the game service, game manager service last night, but it ended up breaking a lot of things and folder support didn't work. So I was able to fix folder support, and I commented on a few things like the true blue bullshit that's going on right now, where they are releasing flash drives with 64 gigs of storage and releasing licensed games in the form of ROMs and selling that for $20. Don't buy it. Don't support people like that. And have a good night. And I will be making notes inside of the project if you want to follow along. You can go to BleemSync on GitHub, and we have a projects tab. And I am currently kind of mastering on the BleemSync UI project. So you can kind of see the cards that are being worked on, and I will be looking at add folders to UI. I will be updating this tonight with the code and saying that it works and how to test it, and also tomorrow / the next day / whenever I'm going to be looking at allowing the bulk edition of games and creating a queue. On Wednesday I will be doing another stream if you're interested, where I will be taking, I bought this, which is a plastic bag, but inside this plastic bag is a 128 gigabyte eMMC chip. For those that don't know, PlayStation Classic motherboard. If this actually pulls up with image. So this little chip right here is the internal storage. It is a 16 gigabyte eMMC flash chip. I will be, on Wednesday, I will be desoldering that. I will be dumping it. I already have a dump, but I don't really want to use that right now. I think it'll flash back onto the firmware properly, but I'm going to try to do just a straight rip to see if it works. So I'm going to save the database file, which is 16 gigs, and I'm going to copy that over to the 128 gig flash chip that I am receiving in the mail, expanding the partition for the games, and then I will be trying to resolder that back on, assuming that it has been it's pre-balled for the BGA chip, and then I will be resoldering that on with my handy dandy reflow workstation, which is back there. So I will have to clean off that desk probably tomorrow. I'll probably do some cleaning tomorrow and take a break from software stuff, hopefully, maybe. But yeah, thanks for watching. Check me out on Wednesday. I will be streaming probably at 7 to 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. Give us a subscribe and hit the notification thing if you want to. I don't care. I do this for me, not for you. Thanks. Goodbye.